Good morning children. After a long time we are going to interact with each other. So first I am going to take class for 5th standard science. Now the lesson for you is, first lesson is organ systems. Now how do we get energy children? We get energy from the food we eat. So the food is converted into energy. This process is called as digestion. What is this process called as? Digestion. So how do we get energy? We get energy from the food we eat. So this food we eat is converted into energy, and this process is called digestion. Now after eating the food, now the waste is removed from our body. This process is called excretion. What is called as excretion? Then we need oxygen to survive. Survive means to live. How do we get oxygen? So we get oxygen through a process called respiration. So how? Through respiration. And this process, like digestion, excretion, respiration is carried out through different organs in our body. So these different organs form the organ system. So we are going to learn about the organ systems now. Now the food that we eat consists of complex compounds like carbohydrates, proteins and fats. And these complex compounds have to be converted into simpler molecules like glucose, amino acids, fatty acids and glycerol. These are the simpler molecules. So these simpler molecules are then assimilated, that is taken by the blood in order to give us energy. And this process, that is complex food molecules, conversion of complex food molecules into simpler molecules, is called as a digestion. Now we understand children what is digestion. Now this digestive system is divided into digestive tract and digestive glands, that is digestive tract and the digestive glands. Now first we are going to see about the digestive tract. It is a coiled muscular tube, extends from mouth to the anus, and this is about 6 to 9 meters long. How many? 6 to 9 meters long. Then this is arranged initially from mouth to buccal cavity, pharynx, esophagus, stomach, then small intestine, large intestine and anus. Next is digestive glands. So here mouth, then pharynx, esophagus, stomach. This is a stomach. See here? This is a stomach. Now then small intestine. Inside is small intestine. This is large intestine. And then to anus. Then next we will go to the digestive glands. So in digestive gland, the process of digestion, we have 3 processes, that is salivary glands, pancreas and liver. So what are the 3 processes? Salivary gland, pancreas and liver. Now the salivary glands secrete saliva which moistens our food, and this saliva contains enzymes which break down the complex starch into simple carbohydrates molecules. So what does it do? It contains enzymes which break down the complex starch into simpler molecules. Next we will go to the pancreas. So we have finished the salivary glands now. Now pancreas. Now pancreas produces a pancreatic juice. Then the liver produces a bile for the digestion of fat. So now we saw about the digestive tract and the digestive glands. Next we will go to the respiratory system. Now the respiratory system provides oxygen. So it gives oxygen to the tissues of the body and removes carbon dioxide from the tissues. So gets oxygen to the tissues and removes carbon dioxide from the tissues. And there are 3 parts forming the respiratory system, that is airways, lungs and muscles of respiration. So what are the 3 parts? Airways, lungs and muscles of respiration. Now, so see here, nostrils, nasal cavity, pharynx, then larynx, trachea, bronchi, bronchioles and alveoli. So see here, this is a alveoli. So inside you have the bronchioles. So this is your respiratory tract. Then first is the airways. Now airways includes this full nasal cavity, pharynx, larynx, trachea, bronchi, bronchioles and lungs. It carries the air between the lungs and the surrounding it. Okay, it carries the air between the lungs and its surrounding. Next, we'll go to the lungs. See the lungs here? So these lungs are the primary organs of the respiratory system. It is a primary organ and they are paired. Paired means two. How many lungs are there? Two. So they are paired. So they are cone shaped also. See, it's a cone shaped organ and they are paired. Paired means two. Two lungs are there. Then they are located near the backbone on both the sides of your heart. Where it is located? Near the backbone of your heart. So once again I'll tell you all children, it's a primary organ of the respiratory system and what shape is that? Cone shape, and it's located near the backbone on both the sides of your heart. Did you understand children? Next is muscles of respiration. Now this include muscles of respiration. So these include diaphragm and as well as the intercostal muscles. They act as a pump, and what do? They push the air in and out of the lungs during breathing. So what these muscles do? They act as a pump and push the air in and out of the lungs during breathing. So next we'll go to the circulatory system. So now in the circulatory system, we are going to learn about the heart. So this is the heart, children. So it is a hollow muscular organ. So it's a muscular organ. It's also somewhat conical in shape. Like what I said about the lung, same heart is also conical in shape, and it's covered with double wall membrane called pericardium. So it is covered by double walled membrane called pericardium. Double walled membrane. Now, the space between the membrane is covered with pericardial fluid. So, in the space it is covered with pericardial fluid. So, space covered. So, space is covered by pericardial fluid. Now, this pericardial fluid protects the heart from shock. So, what does it do? It protects the heart from shock. Then, heart is placed inside the thoracic chamber, that is your ribs. It is placed inside the rib cage in between two lungs. So, where it is placed? In between, inside the rib cage in between two lungs. So, it's a heart. It's a double wall membrane covered with a double wall membrane called the pericardium, and it has a space covered by a pericardial fluid, and this pericardial fluid protects the heart from shock. Then the heart is inside the rib cage in between the two lungs. Then the heart is divided into 4 chambers. How many chambers, children? 4 chambers. 2 upper chambers and the 2 lower chambers. So, they are heart has 4 chambers. Two upper chambers and 2 lower chambers. See the time? 2 lower chambers. Then 2 lower chambers, so that is 2 upper chambers are called auricles. So, 2 upper chambers are called auricles and 2 lower chambers are called ventricles. See here? Auricles and ventricle. Upper chambers, auricles, 2 lower chambers, ventricles. Now, these 2 upper and lower chambers are separated by a muscular wall or tissue known as the auricular-ventricular septum. So, those 2 chambers are separated by a muscular tissues called as the auricular-ventricular septum. Now, the right side of the heart receives the deoxygenated blood from various parts of the body and pumps it to the lungs for the oxygenation, while the left side of the heart receives oxygenated blood. So, right side receives the deoxygenated and the left side receives the oxygenated blood from the lungs and pumps it to the different parts of the body. So, once again I will tell you all children, these 2 upper chambers and lower chambers are separated by the auricular-ventricular septum, and the right side of the heart, what does it receives? It receives deoxygenated blood from various parts of the body and pumps it to the lungs for the oxygenation. But the left side of the heart receives the oxygenated blood from the lungs and pumps it to the different parts of the body. Do you understand, children? Next is blood. Now, blood transports nutrients, oxygen, waste and hormones. Now, the volume of the blood in the human adult is 4 to 5 liters. What is the volume of the blood of the human? 4 to 5 liters of blood. It regulates the water level and the body temperature. What does the blood do? It regulates the water level and the body temperature. Now, blood is pumped throughout the body of your heart. So, blood is pumped through the body of your heart. And now, it takes oxygen to the tissues and cells and finally reaches the lungs to take oxygen again. So, what is the volume of the blood, children? 4 to 5 liters. What does it do? It regulates the water level and the body temperature. Now, what happens? The blood is pumped throughout the body of your heart. Then it takes oxygen to the tissues and cells, and finally where it reaches? It reaches to the lungs to take oxygen again. Next we will see the blood vessels. Now, blood vessel contains arteries and veins. So, blood vessel consists of arteries and the veins. Now, arteries carries oxygenated blood, that is, except the pulmonary artery carries deoxygenated blood from the heart. Now, and the veins, arteries carry oxygenated blood and the veins carry deoxygenated blood. So, now the arteries carry the oxygenated blood except the pulmonary artery, and the veins carry deoxygenated, here also except the pulmonary vein, that is, it carries oxygenated blood to the heart. Now, there are some animals like lobsters and crabs that have the blue blood. What is the color of the blood? Blue. And the cockroaches has colorless or the white blood. So, what we have, the blood is, for us blood is red, but for the animals like lobsters and crabs, they have the blue blood. Then cockroach has a colorless or the white blood. Okay children, this we will see in the next class. Thank you children.